Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Welcome to the In Deep on the Delta Weekly Fishing Report. This is going to be the report for February 6th. I've got a little bit of everything out here going on today. You're going to get to meet the mayor of Paradise Point. We're going to have Ed on in a little bit, and we're going to talk to Ed, and Ed's going to be one of the guys that's going to be helping me with the report here in the next couple months. I have a situation. It's a little bit of sad news that we'll get into that in a little bit, just before we get into the report. But I want to start off with a happy note, and I want to give a big shout out to one of In Deep on the Delta's younger viewers, and that's Asher. Asher is a Delta guy. He generally is out here fishing for bass, but he took a drive up to Idaho, and I got a picture of Asher here with a beautiful trout that he caught out of the Teton River. And I want to hit Asher up for not only getting out and catching that fish, but just getting out. Young guy, he's not sitting in his front room watching videos. He got out, 19 degrees up in Idaho, went out to the river, caught a beautiful brown trout. Asher, congratulations. When you get back in town, I want to see a picture of one of these green fish that you catch out of the Delta. So congratulations to Asher, and that's going to be our feel-good story of the week. Okay, let's talk about the sad news. And the sad news is that my boat, my Vexus AVX, is heading back to the factory due to leaks in the hull. And for those of you who are familiar with Vexus, you know that they had a problem with some of the aluminum that they had back in about 2020. And some of those hulls were cracking in the seams and creating some leaks. My boat happens to be one of those. So I want to thank Vexus for being really good, CNC Marine and Vexus for being really good about the warranty. My boat's getting shipped back to Arkansas. It's going to be replaced. That's the good news. The bad news is it may take a couple of months. So for me, a guy that has owned a boat since he's been in high school, being without a boat it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult on me. It's going to be difficult on my lovely wife, Amy. She's going to have to put up with me. And if you notice that I'm not my usual cheerful self in the next couple months, you guys will know why. Now, I will still be doing videos. I've got a lot of interesting stuff coming up. And so stick with me. We're not only going to be doing the reports, but we will have some videos coming up. And I am going to be out there fishing with friends, and we might be doing some videos on some other bodies of water. And you may see me floating around on a tube or a log out here in the Delta before this is all over. So with that, let's get into the river news. We'll start off with some river news, and we'll go talk about some of the Motherlode lakes, and then we're gonna have Ed on here. You're gonna get to meet the mayor of Paradise Point. We're gonna talk about what's been going on out here on the Delta. So first off, Real Custom Boat Works. They're having their U.S. Coast Guard boat inspection. That's gonna be March 1st, and that is here at Paradise Point. It's going to be 8 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. You can come and get your boat inspected by the Coast Guard and get a Coast Guard sticker on it. They're not issuing any citations. They'll check the boat, make sure you have everything necessary, all your safety gear, make sure the boat's ready to go. If you have any questions, you can call Jim. He is the owner of Real Custom Boat Works, and I'll give you his number. We'll flash it up there. And they're going to have coffee, donuts, and a raffle, and you'll get your boat checked. So that's U.S. Coast Guard boat inspection. Also, I want to talk about the Crappie Closet Lures Clear Lake Crappie Tournament. We have been reporting that was scheduled to be March 1st. They had to make a change due to some restrictions that Fish and Game put on marlin. So the Crappie Closet Clear Lake Crappie Tournament is going to be held Friday, February 28th. So that's a change. Friday, February 28th for the Crappie Closet Tournament up at Clear Lake. If you have any questions, call Marlin at 510-691-05, I think it's 86. I'll make sure I get the right number up there. So that's the Crappie Closet Tournament. change in dates, but location is the same, and you can get all your information from Marlin. How about another tournament that we should talk about up at Clear Lake? And this is going to be the first Clear Lake Outdoors team tournament. This is set for March 2nd. It's going to be a $200 per team entry fee. They're going to have a $50 big fish option. It's going to be 100% payback, and you can call Clear Lake Outdoors for any information. That's at 707-262-5852. And with that, we'll get into the report for Clear Lake. And I did call Dave from Clear Lake Outdoors, and Dave reported that obviously this week they've had a ton of rain. The lake will be full more than likely by the time this comes out, because obviously I'm doing this Wednesday. They've had rain from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and they're looking at having a full reservoir. Said not a lot of people have been up there. High winds, a lot of rain. Before the storm came in, fishing was great, crappie fishing was great. There's people catching fish up there, and he is suspecting that although the water has risen just a little bit, it's gotten a little bit cloudy. As of today, the weather looks pretty good. So I would imagine if you guys are planning on going up there by this weekend, it's going to be fishing really well. I did get a report from Jeffrey and a pic. He went up to Clear Lake. I think he was up there just before the storms came in. Had a 15 fish day, up to 7 pounds, and he had a 22-pound bag. And congratulations to Jeff. And Jeff, thanks for sending me in that report. So the fishing is happening up at Clear Lake, and it's just going to be weather dependent. I know we're going to have this little break, and then we're going to get some more weather. And so check your weather before you go up there. All right, let's jump into New Maloney's, and I talked to John Leasty from Experienced Guide Fishing Service up there. And John hasn't been out. He says, again, just really difficult conditions up there. A lot of rain and a lot of wind, so John hasn't been out, but he will be giving me reports starting next week. And remember, John picked up a 14.7 there a couple weeks ago. I still haven't got that picture. They're still waiting to get some of those released, so let his sponsors and stuff be the first ones to get those pictures up. But I'll have a picture of John's fish up there. I did have my friend Mark Johansson and his buddy Steve. They were up there last week up at New Maloney's, and he had a good day. It wasn't a great day. At least 30 or 40 fish. They had 17 pounds for their best 5 fish. They did have a 5 pound plus big fish. The fish had moved off the bank, and they were catching their fish in around 50 feet of water offshore, doing well. Now, what John is saying, as soon as this weather, levels out a little bit, those fish are probably going to start moving into their spawning areas, start moving up the bank again. They're probably going to do just fine. Don Pedro still doing well. I haven't got a lot of information from Don Pedro because of the weather, but Michael was up there. I got a picture of Mike, and he had a great day up there, and I'm sure he was probably doing the same thing everyone else is doing, throwing some swim baits, throwing some worms, throwing some hover strolling kind of techniques. But everything, this is kind of a reset weekend for everything with the weather. So I think what we're going to do right now is get into the Delta scene, and for that I'm going to get Ed up here. I want to introduce you to the mayor of Paradise Point. We've got Ed here, and Ed, wow. You are you're the mayor out here, and you are maybe I'm taking the elder statesman here at Paradise Point, and maybe on the entire Delta.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, I'm a little old.
Yeah, well,
but I'm having fun too.
And I'll tell you what, we're talking a little bit about age here. I'm not a spring chicken myself, but for you guys that are out there watching, we're going to get into the report here in a minute. I met Ed out here about 3, 4, 5 years ago.
About
I don't know what it
ago,
is.
Yeah, 4 to 5.
We can go into that a little later. But Ed's out here 2, 3, sometimes 4 days a week, and you folks that are watching this that may be a little younger, this is the guy that you want to be when you get to be Ed's age. Ed, how old are you?
I'm 80 years old.
80 years old, and I just got to say, you know, it sounds like a big deal, but Ed, you're one of the only guys that I know at this age. So I don't know how to put this in a good light.
This is a good senior moment.
Yeah. You're driving your own vehicle down here. You're going out by yourself. You launch your own boat. You fish by yourself. And not that that's a great thing. I'm doing the same thing. Most of us, a lot of us bass fishermen go out alone quite a bit, but most of them don't make it to their 70s and 80s to enjoy this. And you're not only doing it, you're doing it strong. You're jumping around here like a 25-year-old. You're catching fish. You're one of the nicest guys out here. You just came down off the dock helping a guy that's putting his kayak in the first time he's ever been on the Delta.
Yeah.
You share your information. And the reason Ed is here, not just because he's a friend and he is the elder statesman here, but Ed's going to be helping me. And you have helped me. I get weekly reports from you throughout the summer. Because my boat is being shipped out, it's a little bit hard to do the reports when you're not out there 3 or 4 days a week like I am generally out there. So I'm going to be relying on Ed to give me some reports.
You come with me anytime you want.
Yeah, we'll get out and we'll get Ed out there catching a few fish. Well, I don't know about that. You've been out here longer than I have. We might even go out and catch a few carp.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's how we all met.
Yeah, that's how I met you. You were reminding me, and
I was proud of that fish.
Yeah, well, I know you were. And I caught a carp last year that I was pretty proud of too. And I never thought I'd be saying that, but you know, but we're not just a couple of carp fishermen. Every now and then we catch a few bass. So Ed will be helping me. If you guys see Ed down at the dock here at Paradise Point, he's got a white. Is it a Lund?
Lund boat.
Lund boat with a Yamaha motor on it. Make sure you stop and say hi. He'll be glad to say hi to you.
Anytime.
So we'll talk about the Delta, and I want to first state that anybody that's been out there fishing the last 3 or 4 days, my hat's off to you. It has been absolutely brutal. Yesterday the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour. It was raining like crazy, and you know, it hasn't been a pleasant time to be out here the last 3 or 4 days. Now I did talk to Rob from the Bass Hole, and Rob has not got a lot of information on, we just got our kayak man out there that's going out that Ed gave first time out on the Delta, running out in his kayak, and he's going to have a tough day today, I think.
Yes, he is.
Day after the storm, but he's out there fishing, so good for him.
That's where we should be.
Yeah, we should be. We're going to go to breakfast after this, though. But anyhow, Rob, you know, didn't get a whole lot of reports, but he has a few of his inner circle that have been going out, and the Delta is starting to show its potential. They're catching a few fish, and as this week unfolds, I think we're just going to have to see what's going on. I'll have more information for you next week. But you were out once before the storm, and Ed, let them know what you found out here. And I was out actually one time, and we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk a little bit about you know, what we can look forward to in the next week. So how'd you do the last week?
Okay, well, I fished last week the 31st, and that was before the storms and stuff, and I actually struck out that day. Didn't get a bite, and I fished for about 4 hours, and I kind of enjoyed the day. It's kind of like a day today, just perfect sunny weather. The water's very calm, and I'm gonna go out and I fished 4 hours, probably 4.5, and
what didn't work for you?
Just about everything I tried. Whether it be chatterbait or a crankbait,
Nothing.
worms. I did a lot of worm fishing, jig fishing, and punching a lot. I like to fish really slow. The water temperature was like 48 degrees that day, and it was just like cold. I was cold, even with the sun shining. I was cold.
Yeah, well.
But you know, and I fished it, and I go, well, all right, next time.
And that's why I like seeing guys like you out here. You know, you're not coming out for the glory.
No.
You're coming out for the fun of it. I will say, you know, when I'm doing these reports, maybe you can embellish a little bit. You know, even if you're not doing very well, I'll give you the okay to just, you know, maybe I'm not going to call it lie to me, but you know,
I won't
you can make it sound better than it is. You know, so anyhow,
The fishing's been slow, really slow out here. The current's been
It's all high tide, all
high
24
tide,
hours a day.
Exactly, that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And then when the tide's not moving, I try to find a spot where the tide's moving, but then there's that shallow spot or that deep spot that there's no current at all. I'll hold in there for a while, kind of like a boat ramp there. I'll just hold in there and fish that really tight. Nothing, all right, we'll go on to the next one. And I don't fish much current in the wintertime when it's like 48 degrees. Unless I know the stripers are coming through or something like that, then I will fish for stripers.
And you're a big striper guy. You grew up fishing for stripers.
Yeah,
Ed has been on the rivers. He's lived in Stockton his entire life, so he's seen the river a few times. So
and the river's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, has it ever?
And at least you know Ed's face now. You know he doesn't lie too much. At
least fishing stories.
Yeah,
right?
Fishing stories. But now, I got to talk about my fishing story. I went out with my buddy Chris, and we went up north, and I think, I think we were out there Friday, just before that first storm came in. And, we had about an hour and a half of really good fish. We only caught about 6 fish in that hour and a half. That's good fishing to me. I was able to get a 5, and by the way, we left out in New Hope and we fished up north, so we weren't in the Central Delta. But I got a 5, I think a 5.3, and I think Chris had one that was right there about 3 pounds, and all of our fish were good solid keepers. And as we got out there, the fish were just chasing, they were feeding. We started fishing about 10 o'clock. I wish we would have started fishing about 9 o'clock, because I think the bite window that we had was just a pre-front deal. We always talk about fishing fronts. We happened to be there at the right time, in the right place with the right tide, and the fish were going. We probably put about 13 pounds of fish in the boat, which wasn't great, but it wasn't bad for an hour of fishing. And boy, we can see when that bite cut off, after we had those 6 fish in the boat, we were getting a few bites, but you could just tell they weren't eating. We had to slow everything down. We caught our fish on, I caught my big one on a spinner bait. Chris was picking them up on jerk baits. And just moving baits, and we're moving around. Don't know that area real well, so it wasn't like we had any hot spots. We just landed in the right spot at the right time. But when they stopped biting, we had to go down, start fishing worms, slower moving baits, and we were getting bit, and they just weren't eating it. So I kind of figured that was our bite window for that, storm front. The barometer was in the right place, and we just got lucky.
Is that on high tide, low tide?
That was a high outgo tide, and that's what everything has been being caught on. The week before, I think I mentioned that all the tournament guys were winning their tournaments in a very short period of time. It was always had something to do with that high outgo tide. So with that, guys, that's it. Wow. If you want to send your condolences, hit me up in the comments. I'm going to be a little bit out of kilter here for the next couple of months, and I'm just waiting for my new boat to come back from Vexus, and then I'm sure that's going to help my personality out. Hopefully I'll still be married, and at that point we'll get out and we'll start really hitting the Delta. And Ed, I'll be relying on you and Coach Ted. I actually talked to Coach Ted a little bit. Ted hasn't been out, but he lives on the river, and I asked him if he's been seeing much action out here. There's just no activities. The striper guys, nobody's really fishing for stripers. Nobody's been out here. So we'll have hopefully a better report for you guys next week. And if you get out, Ed, I'll get a report from you. And I think
no doubt.
At this point, we need to go out and get some breakfast.
Well, Steve, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, man.
I appreciate it.
And again,
Mayor, huh? Wow, that's a big honor.
Yeah,
a big honor.
And like I said, this is the guy you want to be when you get to be 80 years old.
Well, thanks, Steve.
All right. See you guys on the river.
See you on the river.
Bye-bye.
Good job, bud.
All right. Stop recording.